Continuing right along, you can see I'm just making some geometries. They're not too tricky, but I'll show you how I can get at the nodes that I want to explore through doing this, and I will simply move into it. So let's take a look at what's on the screen. Let's pull this out to hide it. What we have here is a form, ghosted in Grasshopper, and what I wanted to put to good use was IsPlanar for a surface and Planar for a curve. And those are two nodes I wanted to look at. Even though I'm on curves, I thought, well, since I'm doing planar, I may as well do IsPlanar and build a geometry because of it. So I built a cylinder. That's what I did, bring in a cylinder. I capped it, and then I rotated it during a I rotated it a multitude of times around the center of one of the surfaces that I pulled from this surface. So I reparameterized that surface and pulled a point that if I want to change that point, which you can see is here, I can plug in this slider and move anywhere around on the surface of that surface. And if you could just see it there, you can see it kind of moving around to the front and the back. But to start, I'm just going to keep it in the 0.5 range and start it here just for easy geometries. My axis is built by just moving a point off in a direction and gaining an axis. And then I debrep that surface, and what I do in doing so is because I've debrepped it because of this angled range, I've ran through 2 pi, which I can bring back to 0, but I can rotate it around to 2 pi, which is nice, and I can do that as many times as I like. So as I have a deconstruct brep, I can do as many as I want. I think I'll just start low. Let's do a 4 count, see what geometry is built. That said, I pulled from here the edges, the curves, and I pulled from it the surfaces, the faces and the curves. With the curves, I can find out what's planar, and those are the ones that are planar. And it says true or false. It's a Boolean, so I can call the list by that pattern. So just briefly, and I know I'm going to be using my panel tool, as you can see, you end up with all these trues, and everything's true, so it's kind of pointless even in doing that because I selected everything I want. But things change as you change the geometries. And then over here is planar. That's a true, true, false, true, true, false pattern. So then I can end up choosing these surfaces. And once I get those surfaces and those called patterns, I have surfaces and lines, and you know exactly what I'm going to do to it. I'm going to throw it through my standard algorithm of bringing a surface into a isotrim, a surface closest points. I evaluate surface and extrusion. I'm going to end up with those things extruded along with the pipes. So if I just want to see the pipes, there they are, and I can change the radius of that, or I could do variable pipes, and it'd be a very cool form. You can really make this complex. So I built this geometry, and there it is. And that's just what was made because of my sensibility of going in and wanting to learn a little bit about what I could do with the IsPlanar node and the planar node. And that is it. So let's just play around with it just a little bit before we go. Plug in this, so you can see that I can start to put in another slider and move this around and have some pretty good transformative skills to make that some awesome patterns around on there. And if you think they're cool with that number count, building a geometry that way before baking it into Rhino, and that's staying, you can see, like, if I start to bring it around here, I can get some really cool forms. So there's one corner, there's another corner, there's another corner. If you stay to the perimeter, it's pretty controllable, but if you start bringing it in the center, you get into some really cool stuff. You can change the size of that, which is no problem, which changes the geometry, obviously. And you can change your steps, so you can make it odd number or even number, which is nice. I actually like an odd number. Actually, I don't mind 3. I actually think that's pretty good. But you can also see what goes into making it. As you set up 1, you can see you basically need rings, welding, and some caps of materials. You can do 2. Once you do 3, you get into this nice form, and that's controllable by the multi-dimensional slider, which is nice wherever you want to put that. Really nice patterns, and you can also go in and not do the full rotation. You can unfold this thing all the way back, so it's just the unit that you want to start with, like a toy. So really nice rotation. I'm a sucker for pi. I'm a sucker for 2 pi. What can I say? That done. That's a very awkward little object. And I think the world is about, I think Grasshopper, I think parametric and computational art and dynamic art and generative art is all about mass customization as opposed to mass production in what you end up doing. So I hope you enjoyed it. I keep going back to the same pattern. I really like extruding my surfaces to this because they extrude along normals and they stay very consistent. And even though you can bring that surface in the Rhino and just do an offset or extrusion there, you could do that as well. The scripts are actually fairly small. They're only really, the gist of the whole script is 12 nodes here, 12 nodes here, and 12 nodes here. Very simple things. So as I bring them all in, you can see as I finish this up, I've got a few objects. Actually, a lot of them are off. Let me put them all on enable and put them all on preview on. Then you start to get into the different geometries of what I've ended up making. If I choose these ones, that was my first chair design. That was my second chair design, and this was my third nugget, just a widget, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, that script will be up, and I'm going to continue with curves and go into curvature, curve frame, derivatives, evaluate curve, which I've used obviously already, points on curve, and try and go through here to torsion. I'll just grab a few of these that I don't usually use, and I'll put them up on the page, and I'll start to just have fun thinking about a new script that goes along with them. So have fun with Grasshopper. This was all about, and get lost in it. Hybrid your forms. I really do like this chair design. I'm going to turn that one into aluminum and have some fun with it. I think I've got everything baked. No, just have the one. So if we leave, you get a nice little object there. Nice little baked object. Not complaining about it. So I would never have probably built it in Rhino. It looks like a Tinkercad project with one of its parameters, one of its algorithms that's offered there. But keep it simple. Have fun with it. Enjoy Grasshopper. Thanks for watching.